So hello, this is Devin Ulibarri from Sugar Labs. So I'm here with Ibiam and Walter Bender, who are going to give some feedback at the end. This is for Code for GovTech's DMP's feedback form. For this year's Code for GovTech DMP project for Sugar Labs, Ajeet Pratap Singh developed Add Real-Time Collaboration to Music Blocks. This feature was developed for Music Blocks, which is a visual programming language for music created by Sugar Labs. This feature is expected to help in the classroom in a number of ways. One is that it allows students in a classroom to work on the same program at the same time together. This enables options for pair programming, programming in small or even large teams. Teachers can use this feature to introduce a program at the beginning of class, for example, and then you can imagine a situation where you would have remote learners in different locations across the world working together and more. So by enabling students to work together on their code in real time, we anticipate that students will be able to better learn from one another, which is an exciting option in the classroom. We also anticipate that this will help some students create more intricate projects by working in a jigsaw fashion. Creating individual pieces of a whole that come together at certain points. And to illustrate this, imagine a group of 3 students creating a game where one student works on the music, another works on the graphics and the UI, and a third student creates the logic for the game itself. And all of this can be shared with knowledgeable community members and mentors for feedback and assistance as they're working on it. Before this summer, this feature was just an idea, but together with Ajeet, we were able to make a working prototype. Ajeet did come to us at the beginning of the summer with many skills. However, as inevitably happens, he did get stuck a few times. For example, in order to get collaboration working, there's both a back end and a front end that need to be worked on. And at one point, he was putting a lot of his time and effort and focus into the front end. We worked together to bring his focus back to implementing the critical backend features, guiding him through the process. And by doing so, this greatly simplified the front end as well, which resulted in the current working prototype. So basically, we got him through a roadblock. As for DMP, it has helped Sugar Labs to do more this summer, to accomplish more this summer, as well as to get the opportunity to mentor one more student, which is our passion as an organization. The most exciting part of the process for me has been guiding Ajeet through the design process, as well as testing the new collaborative system on both my own computer, as well as trying to get it to work in a classroom, in a local classroom. We don't yet have it up on a server, but we expect within a few weeks we'll have the collaboration software running live on a server, and that we'll be able to test it in lab classrooms. So that's it from me. I just wanted to share those in response to the questions we were given. Any additional feedback, Walter?
I was just going to say, it was really surprising to me how impactful collaboration can be in the context of something like music blocks. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Ajeet's work in the classroom getting used by real kids. I think we're going to learn a lot from that.
Great. Ibiam?
I agree with Walter because for a long time, one of the things that Sugar was found on was learning while doing. That's bringing collaboration into the classroom with students and people, whoever uses the software, so typically students. And having this feature is one thing that would definitely help with furthering that, the pedagogy of learning while doing. So everybody gets to work together regardless of where they are and who they are and share ideas. And I think that's something that's really powerful. Hi, everyone. My name is Ibiam Chihurumnaya, and I am an open source maintainer at Sugar Labs, where I maintain the Sugar software and the Sugar desktop and all the other activities or the base activities that are part of the Sugar desktop. And for the past few weeks, I've been working with Aayush Raj to improve Sugar on RPI, and we've gone through making improvements to ThoughtOut RPI plugin, which he built, and he's also made videos showing how to set up RPI. And I think RPI for Sugar, and I think it's really awesome because one of the things this helps us with is improving RPI user base. So people, whoever wants to set up Sugar for RPI now has some documentation from writing to videos and also more functionality, which makes it easier for anybody who wants to use Sugar on RPI. And he's also worked on adding and testing more sensors to various activities, which, like I mentioned earlier, including ThoughtOut activity. And he's done some really awesome work by creating new activities where we have, and we currently have a new activity that helps you test and toggle the toggle RPI peripherals. That's GPIO, audio, CAM, and some other peripherals that you can test. So he also built a camera activity that's able to use the RPI camera module, and he's made the camera activity better, improved the icons, the background color, preview buttons. He's fixed bugs, and he's updated various docs. He's written a lot of documentation actually to document the process and to help anybody, whoever needs to go through this documentation in the near future, they'll be able to go through that documentation. And the camera activity not only takes pictures, it also records, right? You can record. And one of the things he did was put the record feature on a separate thread, so it would not interrupt the preview, since the camera can only be acquired by one thread at a time. He's added more sensors, and he also built the gallery activity, which we use to view photos. And he's created an RPI sensors library, and we've added all our sensors to it. So so far, this has moved Sugar from having close to non-existent documentation and setup on RPI to a lot of improvements, from documentation to activities that actually work. And it's been really great working on this with Aayush rather, because when we started at first, it was real nice having to learn a lot about Sugar and how Sugar works and how the desktop works, and then having to make those changes, or having to make a lot of changes when we're working together and I review whatever he's made, and making changes and learning a lot actually on the process. I remember there was one PRO that we'd gone back and forth about making about a design actually, but it was more a design pattern that we used. And I noticed that he had actually learned from that whole process, and it was really nice. So Sugar can now be used on RPI, and we're also currently working towards creating an RPI image which can be downloaded by anybody. Right now, that's still something we're working on. So once that's done, we would put that, would upload the image, and it would also be easy to link. We plan to use that image and also put it on the RPI community, so anybody who needs Sugar on RPI can easily get access to Raj's work, Ayush's work so far. And yes, it's really been nice working with him. And we've also had somebody he's been working together with on this project that's for something else, for Google Summer of Code. Should I mention this?
I think that's fine.
Yeah,
think
I think it's relevant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's also been working alongside Anurag, who's been working on GSOC for Sugar on RPI, and they've both made a lot of improvements and changes. So it's really been nice working with both of them and testing and going over the whole process of writing software and fixing bugs. And yes, what Aayush has built right now would help increase the number of Sugar users, and then help make Sugar more available to people who use RPI, and it's really awesome. So I've enjoyed working with him this summer, and Anurag, of course. Yeah.
Right. I just want to add that the Raspberry Pi, the RPI community is a maker community by and large. It's really about learn through doing and making, and that's really synergetic with the Sugar community. And yet we've been two separate worlds for a long time, and I think this project is going to have huge impact in terms of bringing those two worlds together, bringing those two communities together. There was just a little bit too much effort that needed to be made prior to the summer to run Raspberry Pi in a useful way. You run Sugar on Raspberry Pi in a useful way, and now right out of the box, you're going to have something really useful, really powerful. So I think it's going to really make a difference in terms of the bringing together of these two communities.
Yeah, I was very excited seeing the demonstrations that were given during the midterm and the final events that we did online, where both of those students, including Aayush, demonstrated their work. And what excites me about the possibilities in the classroom is, the connection with the physical world. Ibiam, you mentioned like the camera, and then there's other sensors on there. So I really look forward to, where this leads in terms of new lesson plans, new ways of exploring. So yeah, great work.
So I'm Walter Bender. I'm one of the Code for Gov DMP mentors for this summer, and I'm going to talk about Vaibhav Sangwan's project, which is math games. Sugar Labs is a tool for learning and construction, and mathematics and understanding math concepts is really important to our community. And so we wanted to bolster that this summer by introducing a much wider variety of different math-like activities for sugar users to engage in. And so this summer we, through DMP, developed a number of different new math initiatives, and a real variety of things. So everything from guessing numbers to generating fractals, but then a bunch of interesting games too. And now here's where in my mind it gets exciting, and where both Vaibhav and I both stretched ourselves a little bit and learned something. I'm going to describe two different games that he worked on. He worked on 5 games this summer, but of the 2 that I thought were most interesting, one was the 3 utilities puzzle. 3 utilities puzzle is it's been out there for a while. You can Google it to find out what it's all about. It's basically a topology puzzle where you can't actually solve this problem because of a topological anomaly. So it's interesting because it's something that looks quite simple but is impossible to do, and you sort of then can use that as a starting point to leap off into some interesting mathematical concepts. But rather than just throwing the puzzle at the students, what we did was we designed it so that it's a series of puzzles that start off quite simple and solvable, and eventually they get to the point where they become unsolvable. And I think that having that progression really makes a difference in terms of both engagement and also, it's really hard to make a comparison when you're looking at just one thing as opposed to why did it work before and now it doesn't work. So having a before and after, I think is really valuable. The other game I want to talk about is something that he did called Bunny Island. Bunny Island is sort of a knockoff of a game that I saw my grandson playing, and he just jumped on this thing and really made something fun. It's another sort of topology game in some sense, but now the idea is to connect different spaces and keep one set of bunnies separate from another set of bunnies on these islands. And again, it's sort of one of these things that was unexpected. We didn't think or know in advance we're going to work in this game, but he just jumped into it and really did a great job. It's really engaging, and again, anything that gets kids exploring math through games, I think, is going to be a positive benefit to their learning. So it was really a fun summer. We got some really great new activities to share with kids, and I think we all learned a lot. So Ibiam, do you want to add something?
Like what I said is it was really fun summer, and one of the games that I liked that he created was Towers of Hanoi, and the reason being the exact same thing what I had mentioned earlier. There was a progression, so you make progress bit by bit, and you have to think. You don't just get the problem doesn't just get dumped on you, and then you start figuring out ways to solve it, but you solve the problem in increments. Basically, Towers of Hanoi is a game where you have 3 discs with 3 towers. You have about 5 discs. It varies, but you have 3 towers where you complete the game when all discs are arranged in terms of size from the smallest to the biggest. But then you can only move 1 disc at a time to one of the towers, and you can't put a bigger disc on top of a smaller disc. So you have to figure out how to move the disc to what tower, and then you can only place smaller discs on top of bigger discs. And the way he created it, the game progressed from an easy stage to a more difficult stage, and until he eventually solved the whole puzzle, which is really a really fun and nice way to learn, because you not really get frustrated. It will be easy to progress from one level to the other, and that's something I think is really nice.
Great.
So my son has Sugar installed on his computer, and he loves playing the games on there. So I look forward to introducing some of these new games to him. He's so far enjoyed all the games, and I also look forward to, as he gets older, having him, introducing him to the coding side of it too. Because now that we have these, there's no reason we can't remix them, make them our own, make them again. So I'm excited, to use these activities myself, but also, introduce my son and his friends and, others to these games.
Great. Well, anyway, DMP, Code for Gov. Thank you so much. It was a great summer and really good set of mentees.
Yeah, thank you so much, Code for GovTech, for having Sugar Labs on this year, and I hope this feedback is helpful for you in the years ahead.
Yeah, it's been a really awesome summer of working with these students, and we've all had a really good time so far, I'm sure, working and creating new software and making improvements to existing software. So yes, thank you, Code for GovTech, and it's been awesome.